The Tunguska Inferno, a storyboard in Prose 1. The sky falls. It began with a tear in the sky. On the morning of June 30th, 1908, a fireball brighter than the sun shrieked across the Siberian horizon. It wasn't a slow descent, it was a kinetic assault. High above the Podkamania Tunguska River, the air itself seemed to fracture. In a fraction of a second, the object, whatever it was, detonated with the force of 15 megatons, roughly 1,000 times more powerful than the blast at Hiroshima. 2. The witness at the edge. In a remote village 40 miles away, a man named Semyon Semyonov sat on his porch. Suddenly, the sky split in two. He felt a heat so intense he thought his clothes would ignite. A moment later, the shockwave arrived, throwing him off his porch and knocking him unconscious. To the villagers, it was as if the world was being unmade by a vengeful god. 3. The flattened world. When the dust settled, the silence was more terrifying than the blast. For 800 square miles, the taiga was gone. But it wasn't burned to ash. It was flattened. 80 million trees lay prone, stripped of their branches and pointing away from the blast center in a perfect radial pattern. 4. The missing crater. The greatest mystery began when the first scientific expedition, led by Leonid Kulik, finally reached the site years later. They expected to find a massive hole in the earth, a scar from a fallen mountain. Instead, they found nothing. At the very center of the destruction, the trees stood upright, though stripped like telephone poles. There was no crater. The impact had never touched the ground. 5. The contenders. Since that day, science has wrestled with the how. Was it a rocky asteroid that succumbed to the pressure of our atmosphere? Was it a dirty snowball comet that vaporized instantly? Or, as some theorists whisper, was it something more exotic, a micro-black hole, or a nuclear mishap of extraterrestrial origin? 6. The final warning. We remember Tunguska not just as a ghost story, but as a reminder. If that fireball had entered the atmosphere just 5 hours later, the rotation of the Earth would have placed St. Petersburg, then the capital of Russia, directly under the blast. A city of millions would have vanished in a heartbeat. Today, we look at the stars not just in wonder, but with a watchful eye, knowing that the sky once fell on a silent forest, and it could, one day, fall again.